It's gone. It's all gone. My brain is a sieve. It's a colander. It holds absolutely nothing.
That is a very dramatic opening statement. What exactly is gone? Your wallet, your keys?
You know that book I finished 2 days ago? The one about productivity that I told you was life-changing?
Yes, the one you talked about for 20 minutes straight. What about it?
I can't remember a single thing. Not a chapter title, not a main point, nothing. It's like the information just evaporated. And it's not just books. I learned 20 new words in the morning, and by dinner time, I'm lucky if I remember 3. Is my brain full? It's gone. It's all gone. My brain is a sieve. It's a colander. It holds absolutely nothing.
That is a very dramatic opening statement. What exactly is gone? Your wallet, your keys?
You know that book I finished 2 days ago? The one about productivity that I told you was life-changing?
Yes, the one you talked about for 20 minutes straight. What about it?
I can't remember a single thing. Not a chapter title, not a main point, nothing. It's like the information just evaporated. And it's not just books. I learned 20 new words in the morning, and by dinner time, I'm lucky if I remember 3. Is my brain full? Is there no more storage space in here?
It's not a storage problem, Ben. Your brain has enough capacity to store the entire internet. The problem isn't your memory, it's your system. You're treating your brain like a bucket with a massive hole in the bottom. You keep pouring water in, and you're shocked when the bucket is empty 10 minutes later.
A hole in the bottom? That's exactly how it feels. But everyone told me to read more and study hard. I'm doing the work. I highlight the sentences, I reread the pages, I even listen to the audiobooks. What am I doing wrong?
You're doing what 99% of people do. Passive learning. You're just letting the information wash over you like a warm shower. It feels good, it feels productive, but it's a total illusion. Rereading and highlighting are the lowest forms of learning. They create the illusion of competence. You recognize the words, so your brain tricks you into thinking you know them.
Wait, the illusion of competence? That's a brutal way to put it. So you're saying all those hours I spent highlighting my books were a waste of time?
Not a total waste, but very inefficient. Think about it like this. Your brain is a survival machine. It's designed to forget anything that isn't essential. If you just read something once, your brain says, "Cool story, but I don't need this to survive," and it hits the delete button.
So how do I convince my brain that active recall or English vocabulary is essential for my survival? Do I have to be chased by a lion while studying?
Not quite. You have to use the secret code. Geniuses, medical students, and world-class polyglots don't have better brains than you. They just use a system that forces the brain to pay attention. It's called active recall. Instead of trying to put information into your brain, you focus on pulling it out.
Pulling it out? That sounds painful, like a mental workout.
It is a workout, and that's why it works. If you're not struggling to remember, you're not learning. The struggle is the signal to your brain that says, hey, this information is hard to find. We should probably build a stronger road to it.
Okay, I'm listening. If rereading is the enemy, what's the first step of this active recall? Give me the code, Jenny. My bucket is getting drier by the second. So, active recall. It sounds like I'm going to be interrogating my own brain. How does it actually look in real life? Do I just close the book and scream, "Tell me what I just read"?
Close, but maybe a bit quieter. Here's the first layer of the code, the blank sheet method. Next time you finish a chapter or a podcast, don't look at your notes. Take a blank piece of paper and write down everything you remember. Everything. Even if it's just one sentence.
But that's hard. My mind goes blank the second I close the book. It's much easier to just look at my highlights and say, "Oh yeah, I remember that."
And that's exactly the trap. When you look at your highlights, you're using recognition. When you use a blank sheet, you're using retrieval. Retrieval is where the magic happens. Every time you struggle to pull a memory out of the dark, you're making that memory stickier. You're telling your brain, this is important. Build a highway to this data.
So, the struggle is the learning. It's like lifting weights for my neurons. But what about the things I truly forget? If I can't remember it on the blank sheet, is it gone forever?
Not at all. That's when you go back and check, but only after you've tried to remember. That gap between what you know and what you forgot is where the most intense learning happens. But active recall is only half the battle, Ben. There's a second layer to the code: spaced repetition.
Spaced repetition. That sounds like a fancy way of saying study it again later.
It's more strategic than that. Have you ever heard of the forgetting curve? A German psychologist named Hermann Ebbinghaus discovered that we forget about 50% of what we learn within 24 hours. By day 7, 90% is gone, unless you interrupt the forgetting.
Interrupt the forgetting? Like a surprise attack on my own brain?
Exactly. You need to review the information at the exact moment you're about to forget it. If you study it today, then tomorrow, then in 3 days, then in a week, then in a month, you're pushing that memory deeper and deeper into your long-term storage. You're turning a dirt path into a concrete highway.
So, instead of cramming for 10 hours in one day, which is what I usually do, I should study for 10 minutes over 10 different days.
Spot on. Cramming is like trying to build a brick wall and not letting the cement dry before adding the next layer. It all collapses. Spaced repetition lets the cement dry. It's the difference between temporary knowledge and permanent mastery.
I'm starting to see the investigation board in my head. Active recall is the detective finding the clues, and spaced repetition is the red string connecting them so they never get lost again.
I love that analogy, Ben. And here's the best part. There are apps like Anki or Quizlet that do the spaced part for you. They use algorithms to show you the hardest words at the perfect time. You don't even have to think about the schedule. You just show up and do the recall.
Finally, an app that isn't trying to steal my dopamine. But Jenny, what if the information is just boring? No matter how many hacks I use, some things are just hard to care about. Okay, I have the recall, I have the spacing, but I still feel like I'm missing something. World-class geniuses don't just remember facts. They seem to own the knowledge, like it's part of their soul. How do they do that?
Because they use the final layer of the code. The Feynman technique, named after the physicist Richard Feynman. He said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it.
So, teaching it to someone else. But I don't have a classroom of students waiting for me to talk about English grammar.
You don't need a classroom. You just need an imaginary 6-year-old. When you learn something new, try to explain it in plain English. No jargon, no complex words, as if you were talking to a child.
If you get stuck or find yourself using big words to hide your confusion, that's your data. That's where the hole in your bucket is. The imaginary 6-year-old. That's brilliant. It forces you to actually understand the logic behind the information, not just memorize the sounds. It's like taking the engine of a car apart to see how it works, instead of just memorizing the name of the car.
Exactly. When you combine these three, active recall, spaced repetition, and the Feynman technique, you're not just studying anymore. You're building a library in your mind. Memory isn't a gift you're born with. It's a system you build.
You know what's crazy, Jenny? I always thought I had a bad memory, but now I realize I just had a bad process. I was using a flip phone process in a smartphone world.
And that's the most important takeaway for our listeners. If you're struggling to learn English or code or business, don't blame your brain. Check your system. Are you just reading, passive, Or are you retrieving? Active. Are you cramming? Inefficient. Or are you spacing? Mastery.
I'm ready, Jenny. I'm going to go get that life-changing book I forgot, and I'm going to give it the recall treatment. I'm going to explain it to my imaginary 6-year-old nephew until I actually own the ideas.
That's the spirit. And for everyone listening, your brain is the most powerful computer in the universe, but it didn't come with a manual. We're giving you the cheat codes here. Use them.
And don't worry if it feels hard at first. Remember our last episode? If it's not hard, it's not growth yet.
Perfect callback, Ben. You're already using the recall.
See? The system is already working. Thanks, Jenny. This was a total game changer.
Anytime, Ben. Now go pave those highways.
Catch you guys in the next episode, where we'll help you unlock even more of that brain power. Stay focused.